Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be discussing a few stocks that I want to share with you that I think are outperforming the market and that are worth your time to look at. Let's dive right into it. First stock here is going to be Darden Restaurants. If you are unfamiliar with it, it owns a lot of the popular big chain restaurant names like Olive Garden, Longhorn, Steakhouse, Fine Dining, and other businesses. You can read the description right here for yourself. The reason why I want to bring this particular company up is because I have noticed they have been outperforming year to date quite well since the S&P has been technically flat almost the entire year, and we are halfway through the year. So year to date, they are up 18.10%, and it's nice to see that. And overall, in the 1 year time frame, they are up 45.19%. 218.94%. We can see during some of the low years, 2021 to 2023, the stock actually didn't move too much because of, inflation and other things that were happening in 2022, as you can all remember. And we had another dive here in 2023, but ever since it has continued to plug along nice and well. If we look at the max time frame, this is really where it starts to get impressive, and we can see where those drops were with those companies back all the way into the early 2000s. That's as far as this will go back. So we can see that this company has continued to provide a stable growth, and we can see obviously during that pandemic scare, which was March 31st, 2020, is when we had lost a lot of our market cap and when basically the world was in a panic for that time frame. If we come down here and look at some of the information of this company, they're based out of Orlando, Florida. They were founded in 1938, and they do pay a small dividend, which is nice to see, at 2.48%. And we can see their 52-week high and 52-week low there, so not too bad. And we can scroll down to the very bottom and see where the trends are for Robinhood specifically. We can see where hedge funds are actively buying. They are interested in this in Q1 of 2025. And then of course, insiders, we can see more and more people have continued to buy it. We are interested in this company long term because it owns some of our favorite restaurants, which is why I recommend it. And it is something I am watching on my list. Let's dive into the next stock right now. My next stock here is Casey's General Stores. If you are unfamiliar with this, this is a company that actually owns and operates some grocery stores. Go ahead and research it if you're unfamiliar with it. And the reason I am bringing it up is because of the performance. And we can actually see where this thing has been going in the past year. So obviously we're halfway through the year. So year to date is 28.64%, which is nice to see. Again, S&P 500 has been relatively flat. So I'm looking for other places to put my money. And as we look at the 1 year, it's 37.90%. I like to see that as well. And then as we continue to go out into the 5 year and even max time frame, we can see just how powerful of a compounding this stock is. Max time frame, again, this chart only allows me to go back to 2000, but overall almost 5,000% return since that entire time frame. That is significant, and I like to see companies like that with a strong momentum forward. We can come down here and look at the dividend. They do pay a small dividend at 0.40%. You can look at their 52-week low and 52-week high there, which is nice. And then their market cap at 18.95 billion. Of course, I always like to see where the trends are in this company. So we can see Robinhood, hedge funds, and then insiders. And then of course, we can see where they are meeting with their revenue. So overall, they have actually been beating expectations. It's nice to see that in their 2024 and 2025. So hopefully the company will continue to go upward. And this is something that I am watching as a long-term investor. Let's jump into my next stock right now. My next stock that I am watching closely is actually AMD, surprisingly enough. And the reason I'm actually watching AMD is because they are a direct competitor to NVIDIA, and it is a company that has been going through some turmoil as of late. I'm sure you can read this in the news and keep up with what's going on. But to kind of enlighten you guys of what's been happening, this company has been struggling to restructure itself to compete with big companies like NVIDIA, and now they are finally shifting that way. And overall, their stock is up 8.37% year to date. And here is what the interesting thing is when you start looking at this chart. The value of this company has been continuously dropping for the past year. See, we can see that we're down 17.05%. Overall, the company is a solid, profitable company. We can see on the 5 year, it's actually up quite high. We can see our high was back on March 8th, 2024 for $207.39. I believe this company is undervalued. I think it's worth keeping up with and making sure that we can capitalize on the movements of this company. And of course, we can look at the max time frame all the way back since 2000. Of course, that dot-com bubble was there, but overall, the company is continuing to spike as as innovation for AI is going up. As we scroll down here, we can see exactly where this company is based out of, Santa Clara, California. No dividend, unfortunately, but we can see that 52-week low and 52-week high right there. And of course, I like to always come down and see where the trends are on this. Robinhood, hedge funds, of course, they were selling quite a bit of it, and then insiders right there. And we can look at where their earnings. So they have been meeting expectations, which is nice to see. And that's why I said this is a company that I am looking in the long term. I think it is worth adding to your watch list. Let's move on to the next stock right now. My final stock on the list is Coinbase. So Coinbase, if you haven't been keeping up with the news, they are going to be in payment systems now. And it's interesting to see how they are evolving as a company. Year to date, they're up 22.33%. And I feel like this company overall is going to continue to go up. And it is just building the future for what is a crypto-based economy. And I love to see that this company is continuing to aggressively expand. They just dropped a credit card, and we can get into that in another video. But overall, the stock has been performing well. You know, for the past year, it's up 44.44%. We can see it's definitely been volatile. You know, it's been as high as 343 back there on December 6th, and we're at 313. So, you know, we have dropped quite a bit low to 151. And then, of course, you know, we have those lows, of course, as stocks move up and down. But the thing that I always like to keep in mind when I'm doing investing, let's look at the long term. 5-year picture is where I like to look at things. So this company IPO'd back on April 14th, 2021 for $250 a share. That was actually not that long ago as of the recording of this video, but we can see as time went on, it went as low as $35.39. So remember, this company is volatile, very similar to Tesla, but they are innovating like no other company. You can read the description there if you are unfamiliar of what Coinbase actually does. You can see where their 52-week low was, 52-week high, and the rest of that information right there. And finally, the last thing is, of course, Robinhood, hedge funds, and then insiders. And then, of course, that amazing earnings report that they have been reporting. And I'm excited to see that they are continuing to grow their company. So those are the stocks that I am currently watching, and I'm excited to see where they go. Let me know if you have any more questions or want to discuss a specific stock or ETF down below. As always, thank you for supporting the channel, and I will see you in the next video.